Good afternoon. It is Wednesday, February 9th, 2022. And today we're going to take a look at Gulf Strike, land, air, and sea combat game in the Persian Gulf. It is from Victory Games, and it is designed by no other than Mark Herman. Mark Herman has two kinds of games: easy games and complicated games. It's either one or the other. And this one is a fairly complicated game. It's pretty complicated. I got this because I bought it for $5, and also I bought it because of nostalgia factor. I had a neighbor back in the day who was into war games. He was a Korean War vet. He was into war games, and we actually played this. And I do have fond memories of coming home after class and going over to his house and playing through a turn, which he would, be excited to do. I do remember it being quite a complicated game. As a matter of fact, he read most of the rules and was telling me how to play and explaining it to me. And and he took a bunch of stuff up. We took a bunch of stuff out, or he did, that he said didn't think the flow of the game very well, but it's still a pretty complicated game. They came out with a Desert Shield expansion later, but this is it. This is Gulf Strike. Let's look at it. Let's read the blurb on the back. Perhaps the world's most critical flashpoint, the Persian Gulf, is an area fraught with ideological, economic, political, and military animosities, where every flare-up carries the threat of global repercussions and the potential for a superpower confrontation. Wow, man. Gulf Strike allows you to examine every aspect of this complex region. 5 complete scenarios portray the multitude of alliances possible to counter threats arising in numerous quarters. Complete air, land, and sea orders of battle for more than a dozen nations allows you to fight each conflict to its unpredictable and often startling conclusion. Gulf Strike, there it is. Let's open it up. Let's take a look at it. And there's a D10, obviously, right off the bat. Looks like a old school Game Science D10, not inked. It's the only problem with some of these old Victory games with the dice they were using. A lot of them, they wasn't inked. I don't mind these dice as long as they're inked, but sure can't see it if it ain't ink, man. Rule book. That's look at that. That's the rule book. It's about 60 pages on the button. This is the concise rules, if you want to call them concise, I guess. You're gonna have this is your cheat sheet, right? This is it. Range, characters, summary. This is your summary. That's some examples of play. Train effects chart. Train. So let's look at these maps. We got several maps. It says it's 5 scenarios. I didn't really remember it being 5 scenarios, but again, it's so long ago. I don't know what scenario we even played. Let's take a look at some of these maps. Yeah, there's the map. Typical Victory Games paper map, obviously. Right. Not a bad looking map. Not bad, not bad. All right, let's see what we got here. Much bigger map here. A much bigger piece. Okay. Saudi Arabia obviously here. Persian Gulf. So you have the Emirates here. Kuwait. Iran, yeah. Okay. It's the map we're all familiar with from. Here's the strategic map, okay. I gotta say, I don't mind looking at these maps. If you're sitting there and playing them, they don't look bad at all. I don't think that they Indian Ocean. You got Pakistan and India there. Starting to get into the Central Asia here, but you're still in over there into Southwestern Asia and even Africa here. All right. Okay. Wow. See, USSR territory up there. Getting into more, like you say, Iran, Iraq, the Caspian Sea up there. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm okay with those maps. I'm okay with them. Period. Let's look at the rule book. It says 60 pages. It's not a short rule book. Let's look at the sequence of play here. Summary of playing pieces. Yeah, we got to look at those counters here in a minute. Well, let's go ahead and look at those counters now before I forget about it, because I'll go through the sequence of play. The sequence of play is kind of a beast, if I remember correctly. Let's look at some of these counters. The counter tray, some of the counters coming out of right there, obviously. I always love these counter trays, even though a lot of them didn't stay together. They stay together if they're stored flat pretty good. So the counters, half-inch counters, they're okay. They're functional. Nothing to write home about. Sorting these gonna look like the worst part. All right, so yeah, typical victory game counters. What are you gonna do? You know, like I said, but I always like these counter trays here. These I guess SBI style counter trays, if that's what you want to call them. As long as you fit those counters for Gulf Strike filled that thing up, man. So it's crazy how many counters we're talking about here. I didn't check the amount of counters on the back of the box. Maybe I should have had. It's a lot. It's a lot of counters, man. Let's go back to. I don't know if I'll ever get to play this. I just bought it $5, and then it's like nostalgia purposes as well. All right. So many people nowadays I find want to play a game that is a little bit more accessible, a little bit more ease of play. But I do think some of these games, I even pick and choose now. Pick and choose wisely, because I do think some of these games, if you have if you put the time into them, some of them are worth it. Like Europa Universalis, totally worth it, but it's just a lot of time. It's a lot of time getting into it, and if I'm going to put a lot of time into it, I want it to be worth it, right? So, sequence of play. You got a bare sequence of play. The following annotated outline describes the process of the game turn of Skull Strike. Each scenario specifies how many game turns must be played to complete a game. Players must perform all activities in strict accordance with the sequence of play. Says you. You know, if it doesn't make sense or if it doesn't flow, you can always change that. That's always my rule of thumb. It's my game. I play it the way I want. Strategic stage. The strategic stage begins each game turn with the introduction of global events that can significantly affect the progress of Gulf War. That's cool. Global political phase. During this phase, various events that could escalate the war within the Gulf region occur. Okay. Global military phase. Unit assignment phase. I can't read all of them. It's a quite lengthy sequence of play. I'll just hit the main initiative determination phase. First action stage. First naval movement determination phase. First movement phase. First reaction segment. First combat phase. First assault segment. Man. second action stage, second naval movement determination phase, second movement phase, second reaction segment, second combat phase, second initiative close air support segment, third movement phase, third reaction segment, third initiative segment, third combat phase, third initiative close air support segment, and third reaction close air support segment. Third assault segment, and then the end stage. So that's it, man. That's quite a bit to it. You got air units. I was going to look at the scenarios, but we'll see here. Scenarios. Political events, random political events. I always love random political events in any of these games. It's just awesome. Scenario format, reinforcements. General scenario rules. There we go. That's probably what scenario 1. Give an example. Scenario 1, in September 1984, the fanatic legions of revolutionary Iran have defeated Iraq through a combination of internal agitation and external military pressure. The remainder of 1984 and early 85 witnessed a consolidation of nearly established Iraqi revolution, while Iranian politics against the heretical Gulf Council nations, that's certainly how they looked at it, intensely. In May of 1985, the revitalized and reorganized Iranian armed forces began to mass on the Kuwait-Iraqi border, called by the Amman, to a jihad against those countries who supported the Satan Husseini. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's a cool scenario. If you remember, you had a long war. Well, you know, what was it? How many? It was a long war between Iran and Iraq. Yeah. And that's what we're dealing with. Scenario 2. Peace conclude between Iran and Iraq. Okay. 1984 peace is concluded with. Okay. Cool. So, yeah. Yeah, you do have 5 scenarios. So there it is. And there's your, what do you want to call it? Your cheat sheet. And that's it. There's Gulf Strike. If any of y'all have played it, let me know. If anybody thinks it's worth playing. Like I said, I played it so long ago and I was just so intimidated by everything. And I'm so young when I was playing it. I really didn't know what I was doing, you know. But yeah, I remember Nick took some things out of it. He took some of the air rules out of it to make it flow better. But that's it. That's Gulf Strike. All right, folks. Y'all have a great day. Talk to you soon. Be careful out there. If it's cold where you are, I'm sorry. But spring's just around the corner. So y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.